All right, all right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game between Sock versus 120 Ling, or Orange in this case, as we see Sock spawning as the blue human on the bottom left-hand side of the map, going up against 120, who has spawned as the yellow undead under the name Orange. Is it confusing? Yes. But, well, just know that this is 120. Should be an interesting matchup, human versus undead, here on the ruins of Ashara. On the top right here, we're looking at a pretty standard opening, Altar of Darkness, Crypt, and a Ziggurat. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, standard openings here, Altar of Kings, Barracks, and a farm. Nothing really to write home about, as the strategies are being developed and fleshed out. Let's go ahead and get to that 2-minute mark. Hero choices are going to be important. A Mountain King first, going up against a Dreadlord first. All right, can say some things about this. Mountain King versus Dreadlord, not that common of not that common of a hero matchup. Dreadlord does have some powerful sleep, does use Carrion Swarm as well, and it may be the counter to the Flying Machine and Knight strategy that human players have been using recently in the meta. Meanwhile, on the bottom left-hand side here, we're, seeing the scouting acolyte trying to figure out what the hero is going to be. Wants that little bit of information. Mountain King could Stormbolt. No, does not decide to Stormbolt. Instead, going after this Ogre Mauler creep camp, as the Footman actually gets ensnared by these trappers, and that could have been a little bit of trouble. All right, quick militia clearing of this creep camp here. Also, Sock picking up a Forest Troll Shadow Priest to get some early healing, as the militia, one of these militias, purposely attacked his own brother or brethren in order to lose aggro from those creeps. Last remaining units on this creep camp will get cleared out as the Mountain King gets to level 2. Coming back across on the other side, 120 clearing out of the Centaur Sorcerer creep camp, the gold mine, and now setting up an expo. We can see that he opted to go for sleep first. No big surprises there. Sleep first, and then follow up perhaps with that Carrion Swarm. Very powerful to try and sleep down the most powerful creep, and then followed up with some more damage later after, the divide and conquer strategy. What can we expect to see from Sock at this point? It looks as though he has 15 workers. He may be trying to go for an expo. There's a Stormbolt onto a Sorcerer, and now going to be going after the Sorcerer and then that Outrunner. We should also be looking at an Arcane Vault sometime soon, as that is a lot of damage to try and heal up off of just one Forest Troll Shadow Priest. Mountain King going after the Centaur Outrunner here. It will get taken out, as we're looking at a couple more mercenaries still possibly trained up here in just a moment. All right, Centaur Sorcerer asleep on the job. That Dreadlord doing what he does best, dividing and conquering, as the Centaur Impaler with those searing arrows really dishing out a fair amount of damage. Tech to Tier 2 has not been started on either side. No surprise there, as we see an expo attempt here by Sock as well. Now, 120 either needs to start training up some more acolytes or set up another necropolis at the expo. While teching the tier 2, he's not going to be able to train up any more units, and that could potentially be a problem. There's a Stormbolt, there's a Carrion Swarm ripping through many of those footmen there, and that damage did rack up fast. Dreadlord not giving chase, though, doesn't have boots of speed, and the Mountain King, what is he going to do here? Perhaps try to land a Stormbolt on a different unit, as the Forest Troll Berserker about to escape away as well. Mountain King could land a Stormbolt on the Dreadlord, perhaps try and stun it down. There's a sleep onto that Forest Troll Berserker. Footmen now trying to make their way over, and there's a little bit of damage there. However, the ghouls were able to get in front. Remember, it is line of sight. The Mountain King perhaps didn't see the ghouls coming across from the other side. I take it back. Saw the farm there. He could have seen those ghouls and needed to execute that Stormbolt just a bit earlier to try and create a little bit of separation. There's another Stormbolt there. Mountain King doesn't have that much mana, though. Staff of Teleportation could be purchased. Are we going to see some more damage? There's a lucky bash onto a ghoul. One more shot, and that was a Ritual Dagger that gave healing to the Dreadlord while denying experience. A clutch move there. It took me a second to realize what had happened. Ritual Dagger finishing off the ghoul, thereby getting healing on the Dreadlord, which was very much needed. Coming back around here, we're looking at 120, 4 out of 5 Acolytes, a 5th one now being trained up, as we should be looking at a tech to tier 2 soon. Arcane Vault also added by Sock, as we see a lot of low hit point footmen here. This is exactly how humans play. They want to spread out that damage across as many units as possible, and then one scroll of regeneration, healing up over 1,000 hit points across all of these units right here. Off to the north, though, Arcane Tower not going to be enough to fend off against all of these ghouls. Mountain King needs to come over. Does have level 2 Stormbolt, and there's a couple of easy units there. There goes a ghoul. That's going to get taken down quickly. Perhaps some Arcane Tower repairs are in order. No repairs, as the ghouls are now continuing to fight back here. Large army engaging. Meanwhile, Mountain King chasing after the Dreadlord. Dreadlord getting hit in the back. There is a sleep. There's a Staff of Teleportation, and the Dreadlord may actually be teleporting back into the fight here. And then, because the Mountain King was asleep and no one was able to wake him up, he's away from all of the action. Dreadlord does have a Potion of Greater Mana, could have used it to try and rack up more damage, but decides against it. Mountain King now sitting at level 4. Are we going to see a Stormbolt against that ghoul? No. Oh, yes, we are. A quick, easy shot there. A powerful bash in the back, finishing the job. Claws of Attack plus 10, coupled with that bash, able to deal that final 80 points of damage in one final shot. All right, coming back across here, we're looking at the Mountain King absorbing a little bit of damage. Goblin Shredder now hired up as well, gonna clear out this creep camp quickly. There's a healing ward, but that healing ward is not gonna do much as it's taken out here. Meanwhile, Dreadlord finding a footman asleep, but unable to get the 4-unit surround. Sock is able to get in some insight onto what is happening. We are looking at double crypt and a graveyard being summoned up by the undead. Meanwhile, Crystal Ball here. You remember, this is a patch update. Crystal Ball is now a consumable item with 3 charges. So, well, just leaving that behind instead of destroying it, perhaps going to try and pick it up later. As we move on to the mid-game, tech to tier 2s are we're halfway done for undead, nearly done for undead, halfway done for human, as the Mountain King looking to clear out as many creep camps on this side of the map as possible. One thing he is going to have a problem with, though, is that he is not going to have enough item slots to take all of these items away. Is he perhaps going to drop the Gloves of Haste and then pick up and then destroy it, and then pick up the Lionhorn or Stormwind? That could be a possibility. Or is he just going to leave it behind for his opponent to perhaps use in a later fight? That is a potential problem. We're seeing more and more units just getting cleaned up here, as it appears to be a game against the computer. Everyone just going after those computer-controlled creeps. Mountain King could easily get off a Stormbolt here, decides against it. Footman now trying to engage. There is a bunch of gargoyles in the air already causing problems, as the Dreadlord gets in a carry-on swarm, followed by a volley of attacks from the gargoyle. Forest Troll Shadow Priest easily taken down, and without any riflemen and no archmage and water elementals, those gargoyles are going to own the skies for quite some time and open up some pressure opportunities. We are already looking at triple crypt, and they could all be training up units, but right now 120 opting to halt production to perhaps build up a big gold bank and then jump into low upkeep just like that. Sock, on the other hand, staying at 47 supply, getting up a Blood Mage, and now trying to crank out those workshops to get those flying machines. But those flying machines may be dead on arrival, as a Potion of Greater Mana left behind by 120 earlier. All right, those flying machines may be dead on arrival, especially with the with the Dreadlord sitting at level 4, nearing level 5, that Carrion Swarm may be able to blast them out of the sky. Time will tell there as the Dreadlord and the Death Knight now go after this Forest Troll Warlord creep camp off to the north. Blood Mage, the partner in crime for the Mountain King, as we are looking at a mana battery strategy. Mountain King still only has Bash, didn't go for Thunderclap, and which makes a lot of sense since, well, 120 opted to go for Gargoyles, and the Dreadlord could be in trouble. Is he going to perhaps have some problems here? All right, Dreadlord trying to break out of his prison. Are we going to see a Stormbolt or something there? No, there is a sleep followed by a step of teleportation. Mountain King instead going after the Death Knight now, saying, you know what, if I can't take down the Dreadlord, might as well take down this Death Knight instead. All right, continuing to fight back here. Death Knight finally out of mana. Dreadlord trying to come his way over. There's a Carrion Swarm trying to rip through things as the Gargoyles are still continuing to fight here. More damage getting racked up, still 4 units around, and it looks as though the Mountain King, is he going to get a Stormbolt? Yes, does get the delivery of that last Stormbolt done as the Blood Mage and Mountain King look to retreat. All right, flying machines. Are they going to engage? No, they are not. They are just standing next to each other. And now that the Dreadlord gets up to level 5 off of that free bit of experience, that is, well, going to be problematic. The Gargoyles do not have, well, their attacks are melee ranged. So that initial burst from the flying machine is absolutely key. It looked like the flying machines were rallied to the hero, and while being rallied to the hero, completely ignored enemy units. Sometimes following orders means that, well, you put yourself in danger and you have incomplete orders, and that's what happened there. Dreadlord sits at level 5 here, staying close to the Death Knight to offer him support as he was already taken down. Meanwhile, we're looking at ghouls now, forming a conga line coming down across the map. No big AoE to try and finish them off, as we are now transitioning into knights with animal war training. A lot of the creep camps have been cleared up here. A flying machine's going to go ahead and try and engage. Here we are. Here we go. Flying machines. Carrion Swarm. We saw that earlier. We talked about it. Flying machines losing a majority of their hit points after one simple spell from that Dreadlord. Lich, the third and final hero in the undead trifecta. That can be a lot of damage added up as the Paladin arrives to the party only to see that, well, he's not quite welcome in his own home. Flying machines now trying to, well, get cranked out their production. Here we are. Here we go. What's going to happen here? Are we going to try and engage Orb of Fire onto the Mountain King to give in a little bit of air attack? And here we are off to the races. All right, Death Knight, Stormbolt straight up onto the Dreadlord, and Orb of Fire. Death Knight's heal is not going to be worth nearly as much. 3 flying machines quickly taken down as the both sides are still fighting their way through. Death Coil perhaps not hitting the right target. Are we going to be looking at another sleep there? What is happening? Mountain King asleep on the job in that frontline spot. Are we going to see a Death Coil or Stormbolt? No, we aren't, as the Gargoyles able to own the flying machines, pushing them back into a corner under the cover of guard towers. Home field advantage slightly for Sock, but it isn't translating to any victory on the battlefield yet. Reinforcements getting out here quicker could be key, as the Mountain King wants to throw down some Stormbolts, but has been having some difficulty. 1 workshop down, workshop number 2 down to about half hit points as another ghoul gets taken out, and it looks like the siege engine is not going to be completed. Meanwhile, the Dreadlord needs a little bit of mana and does have a potion of mana. Could have blasted all of those flying machines out of the sky, as we see another Stormbolt sniping down a unit there. Carrion Swarm. I think all those flying machines were pretty much taken out. 46 supply compared to 48, but we do have the anti-air attack on those siege engines, that cluster rockets, to try and burst those. However, that cluster rockets do attack fairly slowly and do not really do splash damage compared to those flying machines. There's another bash right there. Holy Light Stormbolt perhaps inbound from that ghoul, as the flying machines need to, well, turn back around. There goes that ghoul again. Blood Mage sitting at level 1. Paladin sitting at level 1. 2 siege engines trying to fight their way through all of these battles. No Staff of Sanctuary that I know. There is a Staff of Sanctuary. Perhaps could be used on a low hit point siege engine when the time comes. All right, repairs are going to be necessary on the workshop as well. Units are trying to retreat back. There's a siege engine trying to heal up, and that's going to be a primary easy target for those Gargoyles, as it is stationary and unable to fight back. One siege engine going up against entire, well, murder of gargoyles as it retreats back here. Couple of scout farms placed down. We are still on 2 bases on multiple sides here. Mountain King sitting at level 5, trying to get as much mana as possible for this upcoming fight, as the undead looking to perhaps level up the Lich to level 2. Gargoyles added in over Crypt Fiends. The gargoyles could deal large amounts of damage. Centaur Outrunner just running around in a circle. Replenishment potion completely ignored by all the heroes here, as we see siege engines, well, trying to burst down those gargoyles. Siphon mana away now. There is a Staff of Sanctuary saving a unit. More siege engines continuing to blast at all of those units as the ghouls are just getting individually, well, burst down. Are we going to see another Staff of Sanctuary? That is the key here. Mountain King, is he going to try and save it? No, he is not. The siege engines are still lobbing attacks as the gargoyles go into stone form in the middle of the fight. Siege engines do nothing against ground units, and the siege engine was actually blocked in by the stone form gargoyles. The gargoyles regenerating all their hit points now, and this is the first time I've seen stone form gargoyles used effectively in combat to stop those, to stop what was about to take them down. Mountain King, well, trying to finish off the ghouls. Gargoyles are refreshed and ready to go, and here we are going straight after that arcane tower first. All right, there goes another ghoul again. Paladin gets up to level 2. He's going to open up with Divine Shield. Staff of Sanctuary saving as the siege engines are now, well, once again getting pummeled by all of these ground units again. Mountain King trying to make his way over, perhaps land another Stormbolt on a totally suspecting ghoul, but the ghoul able to back away. All right, we're looking at a couple of Griffins. Siege Engine getting Staff of Sanctuary back home. Animal War training is done. This one farm needs to get taken out. Mountain King also using up a Clarity Potion as well. And with this farm open, the Knight should be able to sneak on past out of here. Meanwhile, Undead off to the north, going after this Granite Golem creep camp here. Mass Gargoyles clearing the way. Obsidian Statues also need a little bit of healing as well. Unholy Aura not going to be enough, oddly. And perhaps getting in some Acolytes in the battle would be helpful. Level 4 now on the Death Knight. Level 2 Unholy Aura, giving, well, full natural regeneration. Wait for it. No, he's not. He hasn't used level 2 Unholy Aura. Instead, no, level 1 Unholy Aura. It was Death Pact before. All right, my apologies. All right, coming back through. A couple of rounds of attacks here. The Gargoyle is going straight after the Griffins, but these Siege Engines are getting in a lot of attacks here. That's going to be quite a bit of a problem as we now see some Blood Mage siphoning mana away. Gargoyles trying to clear a path here, going after the Knights, as the Knights are able to finish off many of those ghouls down to the south. This could be a big problem here. There's a Carrion Swarm ripping on through. Gargoyles now back into stone form on the ground here, and they're just going to be regenerating hit points like mad. All right, nope, they go back into the air. Not quite sure why they did that. A couple more Gargoyles get shot down. Mountain King wants to get a Stormbolt off. Is he going to be able to get one, trying to get some damage? There's a sleep, but it goes onto a Griffin as the Mountain King able to, well, stay alive there. There's another Staff of Sanctuary. Carrion Swarm missing a Siege Engine as it gets Staff of Sanctuary away back home. Both sides fighting here. Are we going to see, yes, another Staff of Sanctuary, triple Staff of Sanctuary by Sock to keep these units alive. All right, more damage still racking up here. Well, as the Gargoyles are getting constantly pressured. Look, 346 viewers and not a single comment so far. I need to check my Twitch chat. Coming back around, though, Siege Engine is continuing to blast down all of these Gargoyles. The Gargoyles cannot go into ground form nearly as often as there are Knights. Well, there were Knights out here. All right, the Gargoyle is trying to get a new chance on life while staying on the ground here. Meanwhile, Blood Mage continuing this pressure here once more. The natural regeneration rather high while in stone form as we see another Staff of Sanctuary. 71 supply compared to 72. Low hit point Knight trying to back away as the Gargoyles able to come back around. All right, nearly back up to full hit points, ready to engage. Well, Obsidian Statue now getting some arcane feedback, forcing the retreat again. This Siege Engine down to 100 and, well, down to dead most likely. One final tap from the Undead Army. 78 supplies compared to 71. Gargoyles, Death Knight, Dreadlord retreating all the way back over here to this top right position. Main gold mines have about a minute of mining left, and then it will be one base versus two, as Undead has taken the northern position as well, right under the nose of Sock. All right, 82 supply army by 120. 120 with a much larger army could continue this push, could cause problems. Meanwhile, though, the siege engines want to make its way over and shut down the economy here. Undead, is he going to, well, Scroll of Town Portal heading back off to the 12 o'clock position. Does also have Brilliance Aura on the Death Knight. Carrion Swarm ripping through, but the Haunted Gold Mine was taken down. All right, you see those those rockets, just how much damage it sounds there as we see a Stormbolt now go down, followed by the Dreadlord losing all of that precious mana. Without that mana, that level 3 Carrion Swarm becomes a moot factor in the battle as the Gargoyles are now chasing after Knights. There's a quick sleep. There's a Stormbolt again. There's some more Siphon mana as the Dreadlord down to 40 some odd mana here. All right, Staff of Sanctuary for a save again. Nearly level 6 Dreadlord could call down Infernals. More Staff of Sanctuaries, more Stormbolts as Gargoyles get picked out of the sky. Coming back through. Scout farm getting cleaned up. 120 trying to re-establish himself, maintain that economic advantage, and while his opponent Sock is trying to get economic neutrality, perhaps be able to push and finish the fight. We're 22 minutes into this game, no clear-cut winner. Economically speaking, I feel like 120 has mined more gold. He has a larger army, and he has the hero levels to show for it as well. So I guess I take it back. There is a clear-cut winner right now. 120 is winning this fight, but it feels like Sock still has a very much more than a fighting chance, as we're looking at all of these peasants now getting taken out. With the destruction of this base here, it is going to be 2 bases to 1, even if this town hall gets up. Sock is definitely up against the ropes, fighting for his life here as the Dreadlord now gets to level 6. That does mean Infernals could be summoned down, and that AoE stun does rack up quite a bit of damage. All right, Stormbolt, Ghoul taken down. Gargoyles trying to rip through. There's a Carrion Swarm, Staff of Sanctuary. Dreadlord does summon an Infernal, stunning down all of these units nearby. And now it doesn't look like the siege engines are affected by that infernal immolation aura. Death Coil, Frost Nova, Holy Lights trying to save that Mountain King, who is down to 317 hit points. 120 is definitely in the driver's seat of this game, but, well, that means that he can drive himself into a loss if he's not careful. Paladin gets up to level 3 now, and with level 3, level 2 Holy Light, that entire first portion of this game has only been with level 1 Holy Light, so the heals are just going to be that much more forthcoming. But is it too much? 59 supply compared to 61. Both sides still fighting their way through. Couple of Gargoyles. Wow, Gargoyle able to be saved. Death Coil onto the Death Knight. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now trying to back away. He also gets an unlucky bash and now getting his mana siphoned away. Siege Engine still getting in plenty of volleys as the Blood Mage falls at level 2. All right, Dreadlord looking to fall back here. Without the Blood Mage, the Dreadlord should be able to get off plenty more Carrion Swarms as we see another one rip through all of those units again. He still has another potion of mana. Dreadlord at level 6, extremely scary, as the Death Knight about to hit level 5 as well. All right, surrounding that Siege Engine. Siege Engine gets taken down a double level up here, and 120 definitely in the lead now and starting to pull away. Sock is in some serious trouble. Mountain King getting healed up. Blood Mage getting resurrected slowly but surely. Some other units back at home. That Staff of Sanctuary charge as healing up those units again and again, as the Dreadlords of Infernal will be ready in about another, well, 75 seconds. Carrion Swarm ripping through against all of those stationary units. Knight could be in some serious trouble. Units are trying to fall back here. We're looking at more damage getting added in as the Siege Engine gets taken down. All right, Sock is pretty much up the creek without a paddle. No real way of coming back unless 120 completely falls asleep at the wheel. right? Some beautiful play, beautiful micro by 120 into this matchup as the Blood Mage back out here onto the battlefield. Looking at Gargoyle easily able to take down a stationary Griffin Rider waiting to be healed from that Staff of Sanctuary buff. We're looking at the Southern Expo still mining gold. This Expo only had 210 gold left, so it is one base versus one base now. But, well, the standing army of 120 just that much better. It felt like Sock, if he knew how much gold was left in that gold mine, would have probably declared that 9 o'clock expansion NWS. Not worth saving. In trying to save that expo and get a little bit of additional gold, he actually fought in an unfavorable position and ended up absolutely taking a beating. All right, last ditch efforts here. Stormbolt onto the Dreadlord. That's not going to amount to much. It's not going to really change things, as the army of 120 still pushing on through. All right, we could see a sleep. No sleep. Some siege engine volley attacks going after some units. Blood Mage going to get taken down again. There goes another Infernal getting summoned down. Paladin about to fall. That's it, and that is the game. A beautiful game between 120 and Sock, opening things up here. Going for that Dreadlord first with Carrion Swarm really neutralized those flying machines. Sock adapting nicely and then switching over to siege engines, having the similar upgrades, right? Having the same armor and weapon upgrades, able to really put pressure on those gargoyles and try to minimize their effectiveness. But once we saw Stone Form being used, well, if your only counter to those gargoyles are when they're in the air, well, once they're on the ground, the siege engines had nothing to attack and was just eating up supply. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.